Okay, in your folder, in the root of your C drive, actually, you're going to see a file called class_nessus.csv. It's a Nessus file that I created in a class I was teaching maybe a year or two ago. And what I like about it is, let's say you ran your Nessus scan and you exported Nessus to a CSV. What you can do is here I can natively use that import CSV just right from PowerShell. So what I'll do is, the first thing I'll do is I'll do an import CSV, and then I'll pipe it to get member. What that's going to let me do is it's going to let me see what methods I have access to. Bang. So in each case, you're going to see that I have the equals, get hashcode, get type, toString method, and then the properties that are inside of it, which are basically columns in Nessus, right? You're going to have a CVE column, a CVSS column, a description, the host, the name, the plugin ID that was used to discover the vulnerability, the output from the plugin, the port, the protocol, the risk, the solution, the synopsis. And now you're here seeing in each of these, it gives you like a quick little description of what that stuff is. So what we're going to do is, I want to just see my high vulnerabilities, right? That's all I want. I want to just see my high vulnerabilities. So you're seeing as he's going through this, he's saying, hey, this IP address is running a high vulnerability, right? Look at that, Apache 2.0 on port 80, and it gives the synopsis, the report, the CVSS number, the CVE number, it gives you all the goodies. See that? Very, very good. Very handy. Nicely formatted. Well, if you're saying that I want to look for unique hosts, in other words, I don't want dupes, show me all the unique hosts in the environment with highs. As a pen tester, this is a big deal because you're looking for the stuff you can attack. So what are the boxes that are unique? You know, they may have the most highs in the environment. So now you come up with a list of IPs. These are going to be the IPs that I go after. And you can do other stuff. Like, let's say, for example, you want to grab something that's like a little bit more of an ISO kind of role, right? You're working with your sysadmins. So I want to get the highs, the mediums, the low, where there's a risk rating, and I want to make sure that I sort it by plugin ID, CVE, CVSS, risk rating protocol, and then I want to output it in something that I can actually manipulate. And PowerShell has this thing called grid view. So when you select all the data that you want, you can output it to this grid view. And now with this grid view, you can actually manipulate your data, right? Add criteria to it, search it, sort it, and all this. So it's very, very nice, very, very professional, and it's built right into that. Now, the reason that this is such a big deal, I don't know, Ron, are you still there? Let's see if Ron's still there. Ron, you still there? Yep. Okay. All right. So the reason that this is such a big deal, I had to do a class for where you work. Well, let's see. Bridgeport. That's where it was. And because they had, they did so much Nessus scans. Nessus was the approved tool. However, the reason that they had to go with PowerShell and we did this grid view stuff for them was because of the lockdown desktop, The only thing that they were guaranteed to have was the Office suite. So you were either going to do it in Access or you were going to use PowerShell because it was at least Windows 7. So this became a way that you could have your ISOs interact with all of their Nessus data, because you know what the big deal in those groups was which people got access to these various Nessus consoles and all of that, and a lot of times they couldn't get a lot of that stuff. So moving and managing Nessus data between these different departments was something that that particular area of your company really wanted. So something to think about. I don't know if that many other groups within where you work. Sorry, Ron, I'm trying not to dime you out. I don't know if that many other groups within where you work were trying something that was that unique. I really thought it was a good way to attack the problem. I really thought it was a good way to attack the problem. You know, it's like you know what your lockdown desktop constraints are. And, you know, I really thought it was a good way to attack the problem. So I really think this is something that should probably be expanded upon, you know. Yeah, building out like full-blown UI stuff for Nessus all in PowerShell. That way you can just move around all the files and you don't have to worry about breaking your secure desktop config. Okay, now the same way that we did the previous with the nmap stuff, you can export to HTML, right? I'm not going to do that, right? It just becomes another report. Just becomes another report. So I'm not going to do that one, but I'm sure you get the idea, right? Where you're just going to take that same web data that we just had, you're going to turn around and save it to HTML. Okay, let's see if we can do this a little bit different. How about we just download this as a text file? It's probably would have been a better solution in the first place, wouldn't it? Let's just get rid of that. Okay, let's see if we can find where we were in here. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to do some real simple reverse shell stuff. Let's see if I can get the IP address right. Yeah, it's 127.1.2.3.4. Okay, so what I'm going to do is open up a command prompt, right? And then I'll just say nc dash LDP 1, 2, 3, 4. Now right here, what we're going to do is like a direct invocation of PowerShell. So you're on a box and you need to kick a reverse shell via PowerShell. You can do it like this. And then you see that it kicks right over here. Okay, that shell is not very good, is it? Let's do it this way. You guys will just have to trust me. I don't want to debug it. But can you do reverse shell stuff in PowerShell? Short answer, yeah. Is it buggy like what you just saw? Short answer, yeah. What a lot of us like to do, rather than do that, is kick back a reverse shell. So let's do that. There we go. Okay, so now that we've got that going, let's try and see. I'll try this one more time. I've had issues with this shell in the past, but 168.1. Come on. 53.188. Right? Okay, so we'll take it from this command prompt, paste it all in there, and let's see if it kicks over to the other Linux box. Boom, yes it does. Okay, let's see if the shell actually works. Cross our fingers, I don't know if it will. Yeah, it looks like it's hanging. Yeah, so he doesn't like the word else in the script. File operable, check them. While, what? Reverse clean. I'll have to debug it, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, but you get the idea. And now let's do our next one. Okay, so I don't really do a lot of this raw shell stuff because you can really interact with Metasploit's interpreter. So I'll show a couple of raw shell command stuff, and then let's just try interpreter stuff with PowerShell. So the first thing that I'll do is another PowerShell variation of the ping suite. So we'll show another PowerShell version of a ping suite, and we'll invoke it directly from a command shell like this. So you see how it literally starts off as just PowerShell.exe. Like this. So it's PowerShell space dash command, and then in quotes, then you just put in all the code that you were write, just like it was a PS1 file. So we're going to start with 50.100, 50.100. The same thing I showed you before with the percent sign and the squigglies, and this becomes our iterator, right? And then we write the connection piece out to it. And this becomes a faster way of doing the ping suite that I taught you earlier. Okay, faster, I shouldn't say faster, less lines of code. It's one little line of code. Okay, what's something that I use on Pentest? I like to do sweeps for port 445. So in this case, I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I like to sweep for individual ports. And the reason for that is if I can find port 445, that's a Windows machine usually. If I can find, 23, that's either a router or a really old Unix machine. So this, for me, works pretty well in a lot of these environments. Okay. The next one is a simple port scan. Are you noticing, guys, that I really like when we do stuff and it's directly from a shell versus having to invoke PowerShell, which is, you notice with this, you just say PowerShell space dash command. So from within your regular Windows command prompt, you can invoke PowerShell without like actually starting PowerShell. Just say, hey, PowerShell dash command, do this. Okay, so I'm starting up Metasploit right now. So I got the MSF console going. Okay, so you've got this now ready to catch your inbound payload, right? So I've got Metasploit running on my Linux box, use multi-handler, set exit on session equals false, set my payload to be a reverse HTTPS. Now I set my L port to 4443 instead of 443. Again, I'm only doing that just because I don't want to have to do the whole running Metasploit as root. Set exit function to thread. This is just one of the things that makes the command shell coming back more stable. And then run it as a background job. So he's listening for the inbound connection. I can jump in here. Make sure that I got the IP and port correct. Okay, now what I've done is I actually have Powersploit stored out on the web. So Powersploit, if you take a look at it, right, PowerShell-command IEX, right, new object web download client, right? So this is all the same, but you see where I actually have it located? It's out in my Amazon AWS, and it's got something called invoke shellcode. And with invoke shellcode, you can just specify the payload, specify the host, the port, and then just say force, right? So now I light this joker up, jump right over here, and we should see a shell come back. Okay, yeah, it's running. Oh, man, is that thing running kind of slow? There it is. Staging native payload. Boom, interpreter session open. Nice handy dandy interpreter. Whee! Okay, gotta love it. Gotta love it. So Powersploit is not as mature yet. I wouldn't call it a mature framework. It certainly hasn't replaced Metasploit. The same thing with Machine, which is another exploit framework just written in PowerShell. So the long-term goal is to basically rewrite tools like Metasploit completely in PowerShell. And the thought process behind it is most of the time PS1 scripts aren't scanned by antivirus. Most of the time. Most of the time, PowerShell execution of anything is not scanned by antivirus. So it's off the top going to be a really good way to get around most antivirus and most intrusion prevention systems. PowerShell is just one of those things that because there's so much of it throughout Windows, it's really kind of hard as a defensive product company to really get in there and analyze PowerShell, right? Because you're probably analyzing something legitimate. So unless it's like blatantly wrong, really popular malware that's using PowerShell, you're going to find that even the trivialist of PowerShell things get by a lot of really expensive security products like Bit9 and stuff like that. I'd be really surprised at what you can do just using what I've shown you so far. Okay, guys, let's take a break. Let's come back and let's talk about some more PowerShell.